Picanha is one of the most prized cuts in Brazil. It comes from the top of the rump, capped with a thick layer of fat. The fat cap protects the meat during cooking and adds flavor. In Brazilian barbecue, known as churrasco, picanha is sliced into thick strips, skewered, and cooked over open flame. The steak is usually served medium rare at 55 degrees Celsius. Filet mignon comes from the tenderloin, a long muscle along the spine of cattle that does very little work. Because the muscle is rarely used, it remains extremely tender. The name comes from French and means delicate filet. It became famous in European fine dining during the 19th century, especially in France. Filet mignon steaks are usually 3 to 5 centimeters thick and contain very little fat marbling. Chefs typically cook them quickly over high heat to an internal temperature of 52 to 57 degrees Celsius for medium rare. The New York strip comes from the short loin, a muscle that balances tenderness with strong beef flavor. It became famous in the 19th century at Delmonico's, one of America's first luxury restaurants. Strip steaks typically have moderate marbling and a firm texture. They are usually grilled or pan-seared to 54 to 60 degrees Celsius for medium rare to medium. In many countries, this cut is also called a sirloin strip. The porterhouse is essentially a larger version of the T-bone. It is cut farther back on the short loin, where the tenderloin portion is bigger. According to the United States Department of Agriculture, the tenderloin section must measure at least 3.2 centimeters wide to be labeled porterhouse. Because of its size, porterhouse steaks can weigh 700 grams to over 1 kilogram and are often shared between 2 people. Ribeye is cut from the rib section between the 6th and 12th ribs of the cow. This area contains significant intramuscular fat, known as marbling, which melts during cooking and produces a rich flavor. Ribeye is one of the most popular steaks in the United States. The fat begins rendering at around 55 to 60 degrees Celsius, creating a juicy texture. Ribeye can be boneless or bone-in, and the central fatty eye is what gives the steak its name. Rump steak comes from the rear back of the cow, near the hip. This muscle does more work than the loin, making the meat leaner and firmer. Despite being less tender, it has a strong beef flavor and is widely used in United Kingdom and Australia. Rump steaks are typically grilled or pan-fried and served medium rare at 54 to 57 degrees Celsius to avoid toughness. The T-bone steak is named after the T-shaped bone running through the center. One side of the bone contains the tenderloin, while the other contains strip steak. Because it combines 2 cuts, it offers both tenderness and flavor in one steak. T-bones are cut from the short loin section. U.S. regulations require the tenderloin side to be at least 1.27 centimeters wide to qualify as a T-bone under standards set by the United States Department of Agriculture. The tomahawk steak is a bone-in ribeye with the rib bone left long and trimmed, giving it the appearance of a tomahawk axe. This dramatic presentation became popular in steakhouses during the 2000s. The long bone can measure 15 to 30 centimeters, though it does not significantly affect flavor. Because the steak is thick, chefs often use a reverse sear method, slowly cooking it to around 48 to 50 degrees Celsius before finishing with a high-heat sear.